Let's face it, cheap or entry-level phones won't ever impress anyone. They are made cheap to be accessible and affordable to everyone as much as possible. They aren't made to impress you with their high-quality camera or fast and smooth performance. But if there's a trend for the past few years with cheap entry-level phones, that would be their incredible battery life, large screen, and a good enough design. And if your budget is around the price of the POCO C65, you should be buying this phone for the battery, screen, and design. POCO C65 is succeeding the C55 that launched back in February, but it never went on sale here in the Philippines. Although not much has really changed in terms of difference in specs, the design refresh is a breath of fresh air. So as usual, this is an all-plastic build, but the finish on the back is matte for this black color that we have here. And it does well in keeping any smudge on the back panel, except for this shiny cutout that occupies the upper half of the back. And to be honest, I actually like it. It's hard to make a phone stand out nowadays. And at this price point, this is a nice touch. Do take note that there is no IP rating nor any kind of dust or water resistance certification. But on the flip end, you still get the basic extra features such as the headphone jack and a dedicated micro SD slot that supports up to 1 terabyte of storage. So if you go for the base model with 128 gigabytes and you need more storage, you have an option to expand it. The C65 is a single firing speaker and it's below average at best, but the vibration motor is strong if the loudness isn't enough to notify you of a call or message. The buttons are on the soft and mushy side, but like any fingerprint scanner on the power button, it's accurate and decently fast. Since this is an entry-level phone, you can't expect the latest features when it comes to the display. So yeah, you still get large bezels all around, especially the ones on the chin, and this is using a teardrop notch instead of a pinhole cutout. And to be honest with you, this isn't a huge deal breaker at this point, but what could be is the display quality. Yes, this LCD screen with 720p plus resolution is large and spacious and definitely enough for those who have a hard time reading text on small screens. But the color quality is one of the weaknesses of the C65. The color looks plain and bland, at least out of the box. The sharpness is okay, but the colors need some adjustment. That's why I recommend switching the color scheme to saturated to make the colors pop on this LCD panel. But impressively, you can play back up to 4K 60 FPS on YouTube. All thanks to that old hardware, more on that later, and you can play back FHD video on Netflix as well. But other than the color, something that's not fixable by a toggle is the 90Hz refresh rate. While the POCO C65 supports a 90Hz refresh rate for a faster and smoother display experience, it's not as noticeable as other phones. I guess the reason behind that is mostly because of the chipset inside, the MediaTek Helio G85 that was released back in 2020. It's a very old chip in terms of smartphone technology advancement and whatnot, but to be fair, it still holds up for an entry-level phone. I mean, you can still do the normal phone tasks, but don't expect things to be fast when going from point A to point B. There will be a few seconds of waiting time, but it's not like it's excruciatingly long when switching between apps. Even with the 8 gigabytes of RAM and RAM expansion technology, these won't make the POCO C65 run any faster. I don't recommend buying this phone for gaming other than playing casual and old title games. But as I've mentioned, the battery life is great on this phone with the C65's conservative screen and performance. I once left an idle game running for 8 hours straight, which saw my battery go from 100% to 5%. So even for a power user, I think the 5000 milliamp cell is more than enough. You know what's not enough? the 10-watt charger brick in the box. I think POCO is trying its best to prolong its availability to ship a charging brick in the box when you buy their phone. Because despite the C65 supporting 80 watts fast charging, you only get a 10-watt brick in the box. And with that slow charger, you're looking at more than 3 hours to fully charge this phone. In any case, I think manufacturers will eventually ship phones without a charger sooner than later. So yeah, don't take them for granted. As for the cameras, you get a 50-megapixel main camera on the back, together with 2 megapixels macro and an auxiliary lens. That's why you see 3 cameras on the back, while the front is using an 8-megapixel camera. Now collectively, the quality you get from the cameras is below average at best, but expected from this price range. However, the 50-megapixel main camera is actually good for the price. It has decent dynamic range, and the POCO's camera processing isn't too aggressive when it comes to sharpness and colors. You get a well-balanced shot most of the time, especially outdoors when there's plenty of lighting. The video quality isn't something to write home about, and I think it's best for video calling, but the photos really stood out to me. But to get the best shot, you need to have stable hands when shooting, or best not to shoot any moving subjects because the phone will struggle to keep that moving subject in focus with its phone's slow shutter. Also, there's another worth noticing. The UI of the camera app has changed. If anything, it looks closer to Apple's style with the resolution toggle and mode switching. On top of that, the new control and notification center is not available, so you're stuck with the old one, which is fine if not only for the missing option to customize. Usually, these toggles can be reorganized and changed, but for some reason, we don't have that option here. That's about it with the changes in software despite the C65 running on MIUI 14 on top of Android 13. All in all, the POCO C65 is not a bad entry-level phone. It can do the basic smartphone stuff and a bit more, but with this kind of phone, you just need to be aware of the cons more than the pros, because the cheaper the phone gets, the more compromises you get as well. That's it for this one. Drop a sub or a like if you like supporting the channel, and as always, until the next one, stay safe.